When did your mother's ruthless attempt to humiliate you for social media clout spectacularly backfire? I had just finished a grueling deadline push. I still had graphite dust on my fingers when I climbed the stairs, only to find the deadbolt changed and my drafting tubes tossed down the stairwell. My mother stood on the other side of the glass peephole, holding her phone up to the window. The live stream icon was glowing. My younger brother was snickering in the background, sliding my portfolio into a slush puddle. She was waiting for me to break down. I stared right into the lens and squared my shoulders. A weird numbness washed over me. "You bleed us dry," she shouted through the thin door. "Find your own roof." Looking back, I realized they weren't trying to exile me. They were trying to break my spirit so I'd stay submissive. So I didn't pound on the door. I didn't plead. I gathered my tubes and walked away into the cold. Sitting in a diner, I opened my laptop. My mother forgot her messaging app was still synced to my browser. I watched the messages populate in real time. My mother bragging to her friends, my brother sending laughing emojis, my stepfather typing I'd crawl back to pay the utility arrears. I scrolled through the chat until the betrayal felt like cold, hard fact. I crashed on a lumpy futon in my coworker Marcus's basement. My phone vibrated endlessly. I ignored it. I took screenshots of the synced chat and dropped them into a secure drive. The next morning, Marcus, who never sugarcoats anything, poured me coffee and asked a simple question. "If she claims it was a joke, do you cave?" I shook my head immediately. "No." "Good," he replied. "That bridge was rotten anyway." I took on overflow drafting projects, found a tiny sublet above a bakery, and removed myself as guarantor on my mother's car loan. It felt like shedding a lead weight. My space was quiet. It was mine. Soon, the tone of my family's messages shifted dramatically. Not out of remorse, but because consequences arrived. "Mom, the bank called about the car." "Brother, why is the Wi-Fi off?" "Stepdad, call us immediately." There was no concern for my safety. I wasn't their daughter. I was their financial shield. Her live stream had also blown up in her face. Extended relatives saw it and called her behavior unhinged. Then, my mother texted the truth. "The landlord needs your signature for the lease renewal tomorrow, or we're out." The next afternoon, my firm promoted me to junior architect. While my mother was facing eviction, my career was launching. She ambushed me that evening outside the bakery. It was raining, and she looked desperate. "We need to fix this," she demanded. "We aren't fixing anything," I replied, standing my ground. She tried to spin the narrative. She claimed the video was tough love to push me toward independence. "I am independent," I pointed out. "That is exactly what terrifies you." She finally cracked. "The landlord is kicking us out because my credit is ruined," she hissed. "You owe us your signature." I looked at her, realizing reputation and comfort were all she cared about. "I don't owe you a thing," I said. "And if you ever show up at my home again, I'll forward those synced group chats to every aunt and uncle who thinks you're a victim." She paled, turned on her heel, and marched into the rain. A month later, my firm hosted an open gallery showing at the Civic Center to unveil our new downtown revitalization models. My family was there, hoping my stepfather's company could bid on a contract. I stood by my display, dressed in a sharp blazer, explaining the blueprints to city officials. A prominent developer publicly announced my designs were the highlight. I saw my mother's head snap toward me from across the room. When she finally sidled up to my booth, she looked entirely defeated. "The bank repossessed the car," she muttered. I just looked at her. "Actions have consequences," I told her quietly. She didn't raise her voice or try to manipulate me. She knew the audience was watching. "I'm not signing your lease," I said. "I'm not fixing your credit. The ruin you're facing isn't my doing. It's exactly what you built when you thought I'd always be there to prop it up." Looking back, walking away without a shouting match was my absolute victory. I didn't give them a villain to blame. Later that night, sitting alone in my quiet apartment, I pulled up the folder of screenshots. I read my mother's cruelest message one last time, feeling absolutely nothing. Then, I dragged the entire folder to the trash and emptied it. I didn't need the reminders. The life I was building was all the proof I needed.